Hello, I'm Pastor Joe, and welcome to Impacts. Now, Impacts is a video teaching series that I offer to help strengthen your faith in, your commitment to, and your relationship with Jesus Christ. Well, the current series that we are in is called Understanding the Bible. And we are looking at the various divisions and subdivisions within this book to help us better understand the structure of everything. And then when we're reading and studying, to help us understand the message and the meaning and to be able to apply it better to our lives. Now today we are turning our focus to the New Testament. So come on, let's get started. You know, it's not uncommon for people to come to me as their pastor and tell me that they want to start reading the Bible, but they're just not sure where to begin. Inevitably, when this happens, I always encourage people to begin with the New Testament. I think the New Testament, without diminishing the importance of the Old Testament, is just easier to understand. I think there are more stories that we're familiar with, and we're just more comfortable with it. When we turn to the New Testament, there's a couple of things we know. We know that it contains 27 different documents, if you will. We call them books. Some are letters, and some are accounts and stories of what's going on. We call them books. So there's 27 different books. But these 27 different books can be divided into divisions or subdivisions, and knowing what those divisions and subdivisions are can help us understand what we're reading. Therefore, we can then better understand how it impacts our lives and how we should understand it and try to follow it. Now, we're quite naturally going to begin at the beginning of the New Testament. And the first division we come to are the Gospels. Now, what does the word gospel mean? Well, the Greek word that we translate gospel is euangelion, which means good message or good news. And it basically tells us that these 4 books are the good news of Jesus Christ. Now, these 4 books are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now, if we take the first 3, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, we call those the synoptic gospels. Now, synoptic, it basically means looking at events from the same view. And those 3 books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, are closely related in content, order, and all of that. John is very different. There are some overlaps, but it is different. So when you look at them, just know that the first 3 can be grouped somewhat together. We call those the Synoptic Gospels, and then we have the Gospel of John. Now, the Gospels are important. Not only do they tell us the story of Jesus Christ, His life, His ministry, His death and resurrection, but they really lay the foundation for everything that happens in the New Testament and really for the Old Testament. So the Gospels are really important. So if you're just starting out reading the Bible, begin there. I think it's a great way and an easy way to get started reading the Bible. Now look, my challenge to you this week is to turn to the New Testament and take a look at the Gospels. Look at the stories that are in those, particularly, pay attention to the Synoptic Gospels, those first 3, and see how the stories are similar. And then look at John and see what stories are different and how it's laid out differently. But just have fun with it, because remember, this is the good news, and so it ought to be a thing of joy and fun for us. Well, look, I hope that you will join me next week. Next week on the Impacts video, we're going to be taking a look at the next section, which is the book of Acts. But before you go, I'd like to ask you to do a couple of things. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. That way you won't miss any new videos that get posted. But also, please take the time to hit like and to share this video. Share it so that your friends and others will have the opportunity to watch it and to learn and hopefully to grow in their faith. Well, look, until we get together next week, my prayer is that God will be with you.